The nation is transfixed by a bizarre story of a boy trapped inside a runaway balloon.
I had to find my son. That was the only thing in my mind.
October 15, 2009, Fort Collins, Colorado. Self-taught scientist Richard Heene, his wife Mayumi, and 3 sons, Bradford, Rio, and Falcon, are in the backyard launching a test aircraft.
The intention was that you and I and everybody else could pull out of our garage one day, hover about 50 to 100 feet off the ground, go to and from work at about 35 miles per hour using high voltage.
But as the aircraft rises,
Bradford yelled at me and said, "Dad, Falcon's inside of it." I'm thinking in the back of my mind, he's right behind me, because that's where I saw him last that I can remember. So it takes off, it's shooting off to the airport area. My first thought was to call the FAA because it's going straight to the airport. And I did what I had to do.
Richard calls the FAA, 911, and a local TV station because he says they have a helicopter that can follow the craft in flight.
Hello?
Yes, is this Richard?
Yes, it is.
Okay, how long has the 6-year-old been missing?
Just a few minutes.
Was the flying saucer in the backyard?
Yes.
But could a little boy really be inside this balloon-like object more than 1,000 feet off the ground?
This thing takes off. Your son tells you Falcon's inside. Are you really going to stop and try and find reasons why maybe he's not in?
Looked a lot like a spaceship.
Within a few short minutes, the story sparks a media storm, and the balloon boy goes global.
I had no clue that there was even media outside. Mayumi and I were completely dumbfounded, just baffled why this thing got attention and why people were in our front yards, and we just simply wanted it to go away.
The country watches live, wanting to know the fate of the boy supposedly inside the runaway aircraft. After more than an hour in flight and covering 50 miles across 3 counties, it crashes softly to the ground. The sheriff's department rushes to the saucer, but finds no one inside. Rescue crews continue searching for the missing boy, but shortly after the balloon lands, as police hold a news conference, word comes in that the Heene boy has been found.
He's been located, he's alive, he's at the house.
I just didn't want to come out really soon, or else he'll yell at me and I'd probably get in trouble.
It turns out Falcon is hiding in the rafters of the family garage the entire time. His parents are ecstatic that he's safe.
Mayumi and I are both in tears. What more would you want at that moment that the guy's safe?
However, that night, when the Heenes sit down for a satellite interview with Wolf Blitzer on CNN, this odd and outrageous yarn begins to unravel.
Why didn't you come out?
You guys said that we did this for the show.
Falcon apparently reveals it's a hoax, a publicity stunt to help the Heenes get their own reality TV show. Public sympathy begins to turn into suspicion, but Richard insists his son misunderstood the question.
A Japanese guy had asked Falcon, could you please show me how you got in the attic for my TV show? So he was referring to a guy that had asked him to show him how he got into it for his TV show.
The following morning, the tide of public sentiment continues to turn on the Heenes, with Falcon's nauseated Today Show appearance.
That's what he was referring to.
After the fact, we have since learned, as many of you have, that these people are actors.
Could you just say once and for all, was this some sort of publicity stunt? Was this a hoax? And will you talk to the police today?
Absolutely no hoax. I think it's horrible. I think that we live in a very negative society. They said, look, they need a bad guy of the week, and you're it.
2 days later, charges are filed against the Heenes.
The misdemeanor is false reporting to authority. The other charges are felonies.
On November 13th, 2009, Richard pleads guilty to a felony charge of trying to influence a public servant. His wife Mayumi pleads guilty to filing a false report. Richard serves 90 days in jail, Mayumi 20. They are also ordered to pay $36,000 in restitution. Despite pleading guilty, Richard stands by his claim.
It was never a hoax, not once. The threat of deportation for Mayumi was imminent. I had to save my family. So do you choose 90 days and save your family, or do you go through a long, dragged-out process of losing your family?
In 2010, the Heenes leave Colorado and relocate to Florida.
We just simply move on. If you live in a negative energy zone, you must get out. Otherwise, you're going to get swallowed up.
Caught on camera, visits the Heenes 3 years after the Balloon Boy incident. Despite having a YouTube presence and doing our interview, Richard says they generally avoid the spotlight.
We found activities to do to isolate ourselves away from other people who had negative opinions about us. And one of the things that came out of it was the kids started their own band, and they're damn good.
The Heene boys are aspiring heavy metal rockers with the hair to prove it.
If everybody did have long hair, we would have short hair. Or a mohawk, whatever. Just want to be different.
I'm inventor Richard Heene.
And Richard continues to chase dreams, inventing contraptions.
I'm the inventor of the heavy-duty truck transformers.
Like a pickup truck robot that loads and unloads heavy equipment in minutes.
The heavy-duty truck transformers it's been a dream coming true. So I got the prototype finished. Now it's time to get them marketed.
He's also trying to reinvent himself.
No matter how bad things get in your life, just remember, there's always something positive that's on the other side of the pendulum. Because no matter how far that negative pendulum swings, it's always going to go to the positive every time.